Hello, everybody, and this is a doctor, and with me is TyipcalManga Fan. This episode, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Over the weekend, the first episode of Kill La Kill aired on Toonami. I watched the series a while back, and it's one of my favorites. It's one of the series that helped me coin a term that I use, which is the best kind of ridiculous. When something is just so crazy over the top, you cannot take it seriously, but entertaining enough that you really don't care.
Yeah, I think that's definitely how I would describe it. I mean, so this is gonna be my impression video. I mean, we were talking, me and the doctor were talking about it, about doing this, I guess, and we just like, why not,
Yeah.
So
I watched the series in full. He's watching it on Toonami, so but you've also spoiled yourself a little bit, at least in certain events. So
yeah, but I'll only talk about the first episode and what my thoughts on it. So I just watched it like I don't know, like 2 hours ago. No, 3 hours ago.
I saw you tweeting when I was on my way home from work. Like, I work during the Toonami hours, so I can't watch them myself, but at least not the official way. But anyway.
So yeah. I mean, I just watched it, and I'm really liking it so far. So basically, I'm not gonna I mean, like what I got from it is like, so this Ryuko, Matoi, whatever you say, Matoi.
Ryuko, yeah, just Ryuko for now, it's fine.
Yeah. So Ryuko was it's basically a girl who's a transfer student to this academy that has like a hierarchy of like wearing stars on their suits, on their uniforms, and it's really weird.
Yeah, the number of stars is both like a sign of status and also a sign of the power of the uniform.
Yeah. So yeah, she comes in. I mean, like, this place is really, right off the bat, these are the guys who made Gurren Lagann. Like, this is actually their first work together since Gurren Lagann, in terms of the writer and the director. Yeah. So the animation, first off, is pretty much the same, so that's why you kind of get the vibe. But it's also really over the top, and I'm really liking that. I mean, it does
within the prologue alone, you're seeing Ira Gamagori. Like, he just busts in the room. He's like taking up like a 3/4 of the room, just standing there.
Yeah, and then this little guys just randomly just run out and just like stand in line. It's just like, what the hell? And everyone's just like falling apart. I'm like, is this normal? And it's kind of, and then of course they talk about, first they have a little fight about this guy who stole a uniform, a 1-star uniform, and of course that's where they make the point where, first off, they have a really awesome action sequence where it was just I had to say this, it's so over the top. Everything they do, every single movement, every single line is exaggerated to such a high extent.
I mean, the part alone where he's running out of the school, like he's running down the stairs, looping around, and right outside every floor you see like Gamagori just falling in right behind him.
Yeah,
laughing like a maniac.
It's just weird. I'm like, thanks for all this. Yeah. And of course, so they get to the end. He wears a suit. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna fight against you. It didn't work, because he's only 1 star. So, and this is really, I can't believe it. They had this really weird scene where he just takes off the uniform to basically have him stripped naked. And then and then after that, they had the guy pretty much used like as a example of what happens when you go against the student council. And that's
Ryuko's first impression of the academy when she actually gets there.
Yeah. So then we get introduced to like the Satsuki, who is the president. It's kind of weird because in almost every anime, in terms of school anime, there's always a student council president, and then of course a disciplinary committee. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, this doesn't happen in America at all. Like, I'm not talking about the over the top. It's just like student council presidents. Like, like. Our presidents don't do anything.
It's pretty much regarded as a popularity contest.
Yeah, and it's not. We don't have a disciplinary committee, but it's so weird how they're always so consistent with having these guys, be there.
TV does it the whole page on this. The absurdly powerful student council.
Yeah, it's like, what do these guys like? What do they actually? I know they put on events, but it's like, these guys have like more important roles than the ones in America or in Western society, because they're like in every anime and they're always doing something. Yeah, they always mention too, and there's the discipline committee too. And I know that we are really like, our discipline in the United States is kind of lax and at times really stupid.
Yeah.
So it's not really surprising that in Asia, of course, especially in basically the East, that they do have a stricter disciplinary system.
Yeah.
But of course they're obviously using this trope to make it go over the top. I mean, everything's over the top, including this trope.
Yes. Like, you'd be hard pressed to find something that's low key in this series anywhere.
Yeah. So he's basically the student council and the disciplinary committee is basically they're basically much Are they the same thing? Because I know there's a student council president.
Well, the disciplinary committee is part of the student council, or at least Gamagori is.
Yeah, because I was just like, oh yeah, you think about it. If you think about it, like are they the same thing in
Like
this case? Or
each of those 4 people are that under Satsuki are like their own department. Like bear with me, but like Gamagori is like
okay.
discipline.
Okay.
Nakayama, the one that was with the boxer guy, he's like sports and athletics. The girl Nanan
non-athletic. Non-athletic.
is like arts, music, and so on.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Inamuta, the one with the glasses. He's like the technology, the nerdy side of things.
Yeah. In the dub, they actually say non-athletic for the girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, non-athletic. So, it's kind of weird. Yeah. So obviously, I mean, they all might as well be disciplinary, in my opinion. Although, obviously, these guys are pretty much running a dictatorship here, right? So,
easily.
So then there's then of course the main character Ryoko comes in and she's transferred in, and right off the bat she meets some people and whatever, but she goes into the academy and she basically confronts the president, right? Or
yeah, I mean
it was the president, right? Yes, and then she's like, yeah, but I just want to make sure that I'll got all the events together. So she confronts her and she's like, yeah, are you the one who killed my dad? Because apparently her dad's dead.
Yes.
And it's happened before the series even began, and they beat her up basically because she's not powerful enough. So then
just by herself, she's not powerful enough to actually beat one of the Goku uniforms. And that's I asked someone else earlier. That's what they call him in the dub, the Goku uniform.
Okay, yeah. Is there a different name for the sub?
Not really. Like Crunchyroll says Goku uniform. I've seen like fan subs that say Ultima uniform.
Okay.
That's why I was kind of curious what they used.
So Ryuko has a really awesome way of escaping, which is like she just like knocks this guy off with delivery, like was it a moped?
Yeah, it's like my delivery. So she comes back, drops his food off, and runs off again. And I think she actually. Oh, go ahead.
What's it called again? Moped? A moped?
Moped or Vespa might be another word too.
Yeah, I totally forgot how you pronounce it. I know how it's spelled. I just forgot how you pronounce it.
Yeah, just moped there. And I think actually I didn't realize it much at the time because there was a kind of a gap for me in the middle of the series where I watched part way, kind of fell out of it and then came back to it. But I think she keeps that moped throughout the entire series.
Oh, because I know she stole it but she finished the delivery, so that's kind of funny.
Well, she gave him back his delivery food anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, because wasn't he supposed to deliver like the food? And yeah, so technically.
Well, she gave it back to him so he could finish his deliveries.
Oh, okay. I thought she actually, because I know she dropped it in front of him. So
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I thought that was his destination, so technically she would be finishing the delivery.
Nonsense.
Yeah. And so anyway, she runs away and she goes back to her home that has been devastated. You see a picture of her, and of course they don't show her dad's face. Nope. It's been ripped off, and then she falls into like an underground laboratory that apparently all mad scientists have.
Did you see the teacher?
Yeah, the teacher. Yeah, the teacher does this whole. He's what?
I was gonna say, like, he's the one who sent her down there, basically.
Yeah. He was the one who triggered it, and he does this whole Virgil thing from Devil May Cry, where he takes off his glasses. Well, actually not Virgil. I'll just say Aizen thing. Where he takes off his glasses and he puts up his hair, and he looks different.
He'll be doing that a lot.
Yeah. So it seems that this guy is working. At least was either maybe working with her father, or maybe is on her side. Who knows? We don't know anything. Well, I don't know anything at this point. So she falls into the underground laboratory that all mad scientists seem to have.
If Dragon Ball has taught us nothing, it has taught us that.
Yeah. And then of course, underneath these pile of like junk and rubble, out comes a sailor uniform, a black sailor uniform that wants to rip off her clothes and make her wear him.
Yes.
It did. The guy I say it did give kind of a really big, uncomfortable, rapey vibe, and it was like, I don't know. And of course, it was. I mean, the lines were saying it's like, wear me, come on. Otherwise, I mean, it's obviously intentional, but it was still uncomfortable to watch. I'm just kind of like, I don't feel like that's necessary.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you're particularly sensitive about that, so I can see why it would get to you a bit there.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, I understand it's supposed to be over the top, but I mean, it's just like, didn't work with me. And
they can't all be winners.
Yeah, and of course, if you're gonna be over the top on everything, I mean, there's gonna be some that's gonna be a miss. That's just what it is. Because comedy is a very subjective type of thing. Although there are I think limits, but whatever. So he mentions that the suit, it's obviously a guy, I would say, from the voice and all that.
It's like, do you mean the uniform? You mean?
Yeah, the uniform.
Yeah, it's just for reference sake, it's called Senketsu.
Yeah. Senketsu. I don't know the name, but would it be safe to call him a he instead of an it?
Pretty safe to say, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So Senketsu.
I don't know what like official articles say if it says he or it, but
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
male for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. Okay. So he definitely has a male voice. Senketsu is basically saying, yeah, if he doesn't like have her wear him and apparently have him be like a, I guess this would be a mutual relationship where he would basically a symbiotic relationship where he would suck her or at least get her blood, and then he wouldn't have to go to sleep again because that's what.
Right, and in exchange, he also powers her up.
Yeah, so it's a symbiotic. Obviously, it's mutualistic. To be more specific, and of course, he was starving for a long time because he didn't have any blood. So he's been away for a while, and if he doesn't get any blood, he would fall asleep again. He wouldn't die, just fall asleep, right?
Yeah.
That's what it
Yeah,
says.
yeah, he doesn't die exactly. I think he just gets weaker, basically.
Okay, so she comes back, and of course, oh yeah, by the way, they captured a hyperactive girl Ryuko who Mako, right?
Mako?
Oh yeah, Mako, who Ryuko. I'm gonna have to memorize these names, aren't I? Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know if it's safe to say that Ryoko befriended her, so much as she befriended Ryuko.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was Ryuko met. I think I, wait. That's what I said. Um, at least maybe or whatever. So Ryuko, this is the girl who Ryuko met before she went to the school, and so she's for some weird reason hanging upside down. I don't know why. And then she says something weird like, "Oh, I should have worn my sexy panties." Like, really? That's what you're saying after all this time? Like,
Yeah,
being captured, hanging upside down. You're not worried about getting free.
Mako will always be worried in life-threatening situations, but she will never be worried about her life.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't know how to take that because I was just like I felt that was unnecessary. I was like, okay, too much. Because the problem, fan service has not been funny to me for a long time.
Yep.
So it's just like it's so unnecessary.
I can take it in doses.
In doses, but I think the problem is the first episode already gave so much, especially when you find out what Riko's wearing.
Yeah, I mean, in this series, the fan service is an honest-to-God plot point.
Yeah, but still. That's I'm gonna have to get over that, but yeah, that's why I said I feel like I'm gonna have a problem with that, but I feel like it might be good enough that I could get over that and just say okay, I can enjoy the series. But so she comes in, and first off her brother was trying to save her, but then he realized that Ryuko was there. So she comes out and she's wearing this new suit that shows a lot of her cleavage and everything, yeah, pretty much. And then of course she fights the one of the guys who's beating her up,
the boxer.
But the boxer who by the way was in trouble for letting her go basically, and he tries to fight her. We get a cool action scene, and it turns out that he has nothing against her. And
yeah, she can tank everything he can dish out.
Yeah, so she basically like destroys his uniform,
yep, which
basically makes him powerless. And then after that, she confronts. Actually, first off, she throws him at her, right?
Yeah.
And they block her, but the blood somehow got on Satsuki anyway. Yeah. And it was just like, is he dead? Or
we'll see him. Like he comes up a bit later on.
Okay, so he's not dead because it looked like I mean, dude, obviously, I don't think that would kill. I mean, this is the weird part. Like normally that would kill someone, but I guess in Kill la Kill, that's not really something that would. Although seeing the blood would kind of be.
One thing you'll also notice on here is like this series takes cannon fodder to a whole new level.
Yeah, I saw that in the opening. I watched both the openings, and the second opening specifically had a lot of guys.
They're literally fighting over the bodies of these guys.
Yeah, it's literally Raining Men. I'm not even kidding when I say that.
No.
Okay. Oh, here's another thing that I noted on Twitter was that Ryuko actually implied that this academy, like all this chaos and like over the topness, only happens in this academy, and that the rest of the world is apparently normal, like normal as we see normal.
At least in Japan, it's not. There's later episodes where we see like other parts of Japan, like Osaka and Kobe and such, and they're pretty crazy themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Hanoji is pretty much the creme de la creme of the crap sack.
Yeah, because maybe it was a dub thing, but she implied that she's like, oh, so I guess this is what happens here or something like that. So it's just like, oh, so does that mean that it doesn't happen anywhere else?
Yeah. Quick question, by the way. One of your tweets on there was like +1 for using the term baller. Where did they do that?
It was Mako's brother running away. That's when they did it.
Okay.
He's like, oh, I don't need to go to school or get like organized or like what was it, like formal education. I'm gonna be a baller or something like that.
Like I said, the only real other time I know about that is from like Hellsinger Bridge. Like, well, there I am, chillaxing in my room like a baller. When all of a sudden all these guys come in and say, "Get on your knees," I said, "I'm not your mother last night." It took a second to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I use baller a lot because I like watching. I mean, I'm a big fan of soccer, so then that's a very common term to use.
Okay.
Baller just means you're an awesome player. But yeah, it was just funny. I noticed that when he was running away, wherever his name is, I'm probably going to have to remember that too. These names. I don't want to remember names anymore.
Like I said, the main ones you'll need to know are Yuko, Mako, Satsuki, because they're like the three main female characters.
Yeah.
The her Satsuki's four people below her.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you go by just last name, it's Inamuta, the glasses, Sanagayama, the sports one, Gamagori, the big one, and Jakuzure, the girl.
Yeah.
Or no. I don't know how to pronounce that right offhand. But yeah. And there's Mikisugi, the teacher, and Senketsu, the uniform. As far for first dozen or so episodes, they're the ones you'll need to know the most of. You'll get some characters later on, like towards the end of this first half of the series. You'll start seeing more of the villains pop up.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, I want to real quick while I'm thinking about it. It won't be for a while, so I might remind you when the time comes around. But eventually, you're going to see a character in there, Nui Harime.
Oh yeah, I know about her.
Yeah, she's all like big old pink, frilly, and psychotic.
Yeah. I know about her.
Yeah, the thing I want you to pay attention to when she finally arrives on the show is watch how she moves.
Okay.
Like when she moves around from place to place, or just like when she's in action, just watch her. Her movements are like off in a way. Like it's intentional because she's the only one who does it, but you'll see what I mean.
Okay. So what else is there? So I think so far, okay, the voice acting. I like the voice acting overall. I mean, there were some few moments where I think it's because of the flip flapping problems, where there was some really weird, awkward moments where like they would just pause for like a split second longer, but that's just nitpicking. And then there was this one part where she calls them pigs in human clothing. That was kind of like an awkward. I mean, it's one of those sentences where it's like really awesome to read, but it's like when someone says it, just kind of feels wrong.
And she does use the exact same sentence in the Japanese version.
Yeah. I think it's one of those sentences they kind of had to make sure they said exactly the way it was. Right. So it just kind of felt like you could tell like it was just kind of like they emphasized the words kind of weirdly. So it was kind of weird. But other than that, it was a pretty enjoyable dub. I mean, I do recognize a lot of the voices. I think this one, the one who does Ryoko, Erica Mendes, she's actually pretty new. She hasn't done that many yet. So So Erica Mendes, and there's another one called Laura Post who does Satsuki. I haven't seen much of hers, although I could be wrong with that. I do know that Erica Mendes doesn't have that much. So I'm glad that that we're spreading we're spreading the pool a bit. We're expanding it. Yeah. And it's good to have new voice. I mean, I understand that obviously if you have experienced voice actors, they have a lot of range, and there's nothing wrong with using veterans. But I mean, ultimately, you don't want to hear the same voice over and over again because eventually
you go there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not to them. I mean, not to ding them, but I mean, not to take anything away from them. But it's like, I mean, eventually we're going to notice.
And like I said, I got in the anime around the time like Crispin Freeman was a major name, so like I can recognize his voice on the spot with a lot of different series.
Yeah.
Funny enough, though, like the one I like most is one of those more comedic roles, so he's actually sounds a bit different there. That you still recognize him. I
mean, obviously, I think you always have. What they do is they have veterans often take the main characters, but then they always add like the new ones into like side characters to get them experience, and eventually when they get enough experience, they can go into the big roles, which I like. So that obviously would explain why Erica Mendes still has a good amount of experience behind her, and not to mention that in voice acting you need theater experience or at least some type of acting experience, unlike what some other people say.
Oh, that's right. You had to think about that, didn't you? Like someone at your school, I guess, was talking about that.
Yeah, some asshole said that connections. That the only thing that gets you jobs in voice acting is connections, and it doesn't actually matter how good of an actor you are. Which was, in my opinion, very insulting to any actor out there. Because if you think about it, connections. The thing about connecting connections, it can be applied to any job in any field.
And if you think about it, in my opinion, like voice acting would probably be at least equal to, or if not harder than, conventional acting, because conventional acting you got body language to work.
Yeah. They make points of saying that all the time. Yeah, and the fact is they are grossly underpaid. I mean, there's a lot of things that this asshole said to me, so I'm not going to go more into depth into that. But that's the one thing that I will say is that this guy wants to be a voice actor and voice director, and he's like, and I asked him if he had any acting experience, and he's like, no, and it's because he doesn't think he needs any, asshole. And I don't care if he's a super duper natural, whatever. Experience is always good for you. Yeah. Okay, Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are some of the greatest actors in the world, and I'm sure they would say the same thing, that experience is something that you should have.
Quick little sidetrack. I was looking at the actors you mentioned, like Erica Mendes, and you're right, she hasn't really done a whole lot. The only other roles he has listed here, like that I would probably recognize right offhand, is like the main character of Magi, the Kingdom of Magic or Labyrinth of Magic, as Aladdin.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know it myself, but that's like the only name I recognize. And then
Yeah.
looking at Satsuki as well.
I will say
Brandon.
I will say that Magi is a very big anime, a very popular anime. I'll say that.
Yeah.
So.
I might take a look at it myself sometime then. But I think I saw a little bit one time at like an expo. They were running some episodes in one. That's about the only area I've seen of it first.
Yeah. By the way, what did you say? You see anything about Laura Post? That's the one who does Satsuki.
Oh no. Well, Satsuki, the English actress for Satsuki is named Carolyn Karanen.
Oh, who the hell's? Oh, never mind. I know who Laura Post does. I can't say her name right now.
Yeah.
It's it's the other one, the one who hasn't appeared yet.
Oh, Nui.
No. The Nui's the one she works for.
Oh, Ragyo.
No. Yeah, well, I try not to say her name.
Well, like in this case, he's like still. I think we got a message for her already, didn't we?
Whatever. It's
Yeah,
they don't know.
fine.
If we say the name, they don't know who she is. It's Ragyo. Yeah. That's
like, she's like
Post.
okay. Yeah, like Satsuki's actress, like she's actually the dub actress for Mami in Madoka.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just glad they're getting new voices. You know.
Yeah.
Just not to take anything away from the other voice actors. I know that their experience and their versatility allows them to play many different roles and very believable roles. But in the end, we're still gonna note it. I mean,
Yeah,
again,
it is good to mix it up. I agree with you.
yeah, I mean, again, it's Sir Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. Sorry, Ian McKellen. I think they both knighted. Is that even though they're some of the, in my opinion, the greatest actors in the world, if I see them in every role, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, no. No matter how well they play, it's just you're gonna notice it, and you're just gonna feel like you're just gonna be like, that's Patrick Stewart, not blank blank blank. Unfortunately, and in fact, that's actually happened with me with X-Men. I only see them for the names of their real names, not the actual character. Although
Yeah,
the acting is superb.
That's a thing on there actually. Like there's a podcast I listened to before, like with the YouTubers Jesse Cox and Wow Krendor, and they're talking about like the movie what was it there? Interstellar.
Yeah.
And one of Krendor's things about it was that there wasn't really much to do with the characters. Like you thought of them more as the actors than you did the characters.
Yeah, and unfortunately, and it happens. I know it happens a lot with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino.
Yeah.
That you see, and it's because they're so famous at that point. See, that's the issue.
Yeah.
When someone becomes so famous, you only see them for the actor,
Yeah.
and it's not. It's not to take away from.
I think it's also more easily to have happen like when you're in the like
when you
in
see the
certain types
faces.
of roles like that, and also like
Yeah.
certain types of movies, like a sci-fi or fantasy movie. You're more immersed in the lore and the story, so you're probably more inclined to think of the character first.
And not to mention the type if they get typecast, because again, because I think Sir Ian McKellen and Sir Patrick Stewart
Yeah.
are always going to be. They're going to be in similar because they're old, so they can only play old men. So they're going to probably play like the mentor roles, you know. So I mean, did you see them playing like the young 10-year-old, like 15-year-old kid? No, right? So voice acting does allow that, though. You know, it does. It allows old people to play. Well, if you're too old, then you probably can't do it. But somewhat old people to play younger roles, and so yeah, I mean, so I'm just glad it's getting around. Not to take anything, as I said for the third time, I think, not to take anything away from the main cat, the veterans.
Yeah.
But it's just good to get some experience, and you know,
Yeah.
ultimately,
and you'll hear different voices too. Like for better or for worse, at least you're hearing kind of different voices, kind of going hearing different things on there.
yeah, and of course, not to mention the veterans will one someday retire, so we need some
Yeah.
people to pass on the torch to. So
Yep.
yeah, so that's voice acting. I like the animation. It's awesome animation.
Oh. Question I want to ask you about, because like I said, I didn't get to watch the episodes myself. You know how throughout the episode they'll have like the red kanji and stuff, like it's
Yeah.
stuff. How did they subtitle that anywhere at all, or did they just leave it as
Yeah,
is?
they do. They subtitle that, I think.
Like they were just like subtitles on the screen. That's all.
They have subtitles on the bottom, like on like kind of like it's as if you're watching a subtitle version of the Funimation DVDs. It's
Okay.
it's on this. They did that with Soul Eater too
Yeah.
when it aired on Toonami.
Yeah, that's one thing I kind of like with the fan stuff, because they'll usually get a little more creative about stuff like that. Like they'll have like either like inside the kanji or like things like that, and
Yeah.
especially useful in Kill la Kill, where like it's done in all sorts of different ways and angles.
Yeah, but if you're gonna standardize it, I mean the thing is, if you're gonna like distribute it, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
'Cause,
sure, I mean,
you
better
want
keep it
to.
simple.
Yeah, you got to keep it simple because remember you have to keep a standard.
Well, that and also it's probably easier on the budget.
in the eyes, yeah, on the eyes.
I would say budget, but yeah.
Oh, easy on the eyes, yeah. But same thing too, yeah. So ultimately, yeah, that's what happened. So animation's really good. The action sequences are awesome. I completely enjoyed them. I mean, it's definitely not a downer from the opening because you don't want to. I watched the openings; they were really like they get you pumping. But I was afraid that maybe they wasn't going to live up to that because openings tend to do that. I mean, they can do that. You can't judge a book by its cover. So I was kind of like, oh, how they going to do this? So far from the first episode, it did do that. But I'm worried that I'm a little worried that it might go down and might not have that anymore as much.
The action will stay pretty good overall. I think. I don't think you'll be disappointed on that side of it.
Okay, good.
Like I said, the over the topness is fun. Like I said it earlier, the best kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. The voice is good. The voices are good. I like them. Yeah, the animation's good. The plot's interesting. I'm already invested in it. Also, I like to note that it's a lot. It definitely reminds me of Gurren Lagann, obviously because they had the same director, same writer, same animation. But I did watch Gurren Lagann. I couldn't enjoy it as I probably wanted to because of certain reasons that I mentioned to you before.
Yeah.
I won't state all of them now because it's irrelevant in this video. But like I think this is something that I can really enjoy. In a situation where I'm not, with that's unlike that of Gurren Lagann in my case. So I think this is one where I can actually enjoy all of the overtopness and not really have much of an issue once the series ends.
Yeah, and like I said, and the serious parts will be pretty good on here too. Like you'll get to a few serious spots here and there, and they stay pretty consistent as well. Like even they can be a little bit over the top in some cases. Here, like can't think of anything like right offhand that's gonna come up like immediately that you wanna maybe keep an eye out for. Like the myth arc part of the plot, like the really like in-depth part of the story, kicks in around towards the end of the first half Like these first few episodes are going to be mostly to build up and develop the characters in different ways, like Ryuko, Mako, and everyone else.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm already liking the tone that some of the characters are already giving. They're memorable. Satsuki is the domineering, lord of. Oh.
You know who Satsuki makes me think of a little bit here and there?
Who?
She's looking so far down on you. She's actually looking up.
Boa Hancock. Yeah.
Yeah, because every time she appears, just about, she's always like at a higher position than everyone else.
Yeah, she has a sword, but it looks really cool. And they always do that awesome like animation where they run up at the pillar she's on, and then they just go up. It gets closer. It zooms in really quickly, and I like that. It really does help with the. I mean, we keep saying the words over the top because it really is. I mean, everything is exaggerated.
I say for the third time, best kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and also I think that's all characters are memorable because of their own way of being over the top. It's not just generic over the top. They have their own way of it. So I know
like
who Mako is.
Yeah. You'll recognize Mako right away, and she only gets crazier. Like you haven't even seen her main running gag come up yet.
And then there's Ryuko, and then you remember these guys. So I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. And hopefully there's more to come.
There's plenty more to come. This episode's like 24 episodes, 25 if they do like the little extra one they did after the series proper.
Yeah. So I think that's my impression of the first episode, and I'm happy. I'm generally happy with what I've seen. I'm not a big fan of the fan service. I think
you're gonna have to get over that pretty quickly.
Yeah, I know. I think we're gonna have to get over that. I heard it does tone down a bit. So.
Yes and no. Like it's not like blatant in terms of like showing off fan service, but there's still plenty of it later on. It's just more by that point you're kind of inured to it.
There's some fan service I just feel like is so in your face and so pointless. That's what I feel. But since this is actually part of the plot, I mean, again, I still rather not have it. But I mean, I understand it's part of the plot, so I'm just gonna have to deal with it. So, and I think ultimately, if it's good enough, then it won't matter. I mean, it won't matter in terms of rating it objectively, but I mean, it won't matter in terms of me liking it or not.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine with it after a while. Like once you get used to it, it's not really a gigantic deal. Like it's part of the plot in there, but at the same time, it's like, it ends up in a way it kind of works with the series, so to speak. Like it's not a fan service series. It's just a series that has I think how to phrase this. Like not a series that has fan service, or it's not there to be titillating. It's actually there for purpose.
It's not like mindless fan service. Shameless.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, mindless is probably the better word right there.
Yeah, so mindless is the best word, yeah. It's not mindless fan service. It's there for a reason, and it's there to... I mean, ultimately, fan service is for... I mean, the reason why they put that is probably to entice some of the audience, but it's not insulting at a point where it's just like... It's not like Sword Art Online insulting, because that's just insulting. Some of the panty shots in that series are just stupid. Yeah, they were really stupid.
I had less issues with any level of fan service more than I did the whole Sugu thing.
Who? Sugo? I forgot who.
Lifa.
Oh, Lifa. Oh yeah, Lifa. Yeah. Yeah. That's how much I care about the characters. I don't remember the names. Or I don't remember who they are. I do remember the names. Just I don't know who they correspond. I don't remember who they correspond to. But whatever. So I think that's about it. Okay. So if you guys want to watch Kill la Kill, it's on Toonami at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can catch it on the Cartoon Network, the Adult Swim channel. Toonami is currently going very strong right now. It's not in trouble, unlike what most of you guys are thinking. That even though it got shortened. It's actually Jason DeMarco, the creator of Toonami, has explained that this is actually better for them. So anything will help. So please watch it whenever you can. This is where you get the dubbed of Kill la Kill, which I believe is currently airing for the first time. I think this is the dub premiere.
I think it's been out on DVD for a while, but yeah, this is the premiere on TV. And if you don't necessarily want to wait, or at least just want to see what happens, it's also available to watch on Crunchyroll.com. It's all the full series in Japanese with subtitles for free.
Okay.
Well, for free if you don't mind dealing with ads anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you get ads on TV too, though. So
yeah, so it evens out there. Like I said, it's a Kill la Kill. It's definitely a fun series. Like I said, it's one that became a favorite of mine very quickly once I really got into it. And like I said, once again, over the top. But like I said, it's the fun kind of over the top, like the kind you can really just sit back and enjoy. And it's a series you can just kind of sit back and enjoy, but it's also one that you can enjoy on deeper levels as well. Once you really get into it, once it really gets going.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's about it, right?
Yeah, I think we're good to go here. Anything else you want to bring up before we wrap up, or
nope? It's just impressions so far, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we'll keep up to date and maybe do the other episodes as they come around here. But meantime, take us away.
Bye.